How can I get rid of feelings of regret and disappointment? It's a heavy burden on my heart. Life has no meaning due to injustice. I have regret from giving emotions, time, effort, and having nothing in return. So we have to break down the multiple issues here. You're suffering from heaven's reward fallacy, which is a cognitive distortion. What I'm saying is that the way that you're thinking is flawed. Heaven's reward fallacy is where you believe that if you do good, then you'll get good, but that is false. We do not live in a universe and in a timeline right now where you will necessarily get good every time you give good. It's disproportionate. We live in a universe right now where sometimes you will do something good, but you will get bad in return, or you will not get a return on the good that you gave. And some people will do bad and get good as a result of doing bad, right? So we have to look at the actual timeline, the actual universe we live in, and align our thinking. So we want to go from, hey, I'm supposed to get good for the good that I do. Everything is supposed to be just. Everything is supposed to work out. That doesn't make sense. So let's switch it to the real world that we live in, which is not everything will work out. Not everything will be just. I won't always get good for the good that I give. And I realize that. So the meaning of life is not to just receive justice, just goodness for existing. I did good, so everything good should happen to me. No, the meaning of life is for you to benefit yourself and others despite the injustice that exists. It's recognizing you live in an unjust world and then benefiting yourself and others despite the injustice. That's meaning. And that's where the meaning comes from. Next, you talked about disappointment. Disappointment hinges on expectation, meaning if you never have an expectation, you can never have a disappointment. So we got to go back retroactively and kill the expectation that you should have never had. Or in other words, it would have been beneficial for you to have never set an expectation so that you wouldn't be here now with the disappointment. And moving forward in the future, please remember as a lesson, don't set an expectation, and you will not feel a disappointment as a result. So going backward, when you accept that it would have been better to have not set any expectation and that we shouldn't have any expectation because we can't predict what's going to happen in this world, setting an expectation would be like predicting the future or saying that it must happen in the future this exact way, but that doesn't make sense because we can't control the future. We can't make it all happen a certain way. So we need not set an expectation. We need to accept that we don't have control and allow chips to fall where they're going to fall, which means going about life with no expectation and then dealing with things as they come, meaning we'll be in gratitude when something works out. And if something doesn't work out, we won't be disappointed because we never had an expectation in the first place. So looking at that, let's accept it would have been better if I never set an expectation. So therefore, there's no need for me to feel disappointed right now. What I need to feel is acceptance. I get what I get, and this is what I got. And that's okay, because it's not always going to work out in this world. It's not always going to be just in this world. The last thing here is regret, which is your biggest emotion here around this situation. Regret is maladaptive, meaning it's not helpful. It really doesn't make any sense for us to live in a state of regret, because the only benefit of regret is to punish yourself, to teach yourself a lesson to not do something again. But you don't need that lesson in this case because you didn't do something wrong. You invested time, energy, effort, and your feelings, your emotions. Where was the crime? That's the only way to see if a relationship can work, is to invest some time, some effort, and some emotions. That is what you did. Because you did nothing wrong, there is no need for regret. What you did was an investment where we take something valuable and we invested into something hoping to get a return, you thought you would get a better return than what you got. There's no need to sit and lament about not getting the return you wanted. Investments sometimes don't work out. So say to yourself instead, I made an investment. I tried. I gave the time, I gave the energy, I gave the emotions, and therefore I have no regrets. Say that. Because what you'll realize is the same reason you're using to regret is the reason you should have no regrets. Because you really tried. You really gave your feelings, your emotions, you really invested your time, you really gave it effort. And so when it doesn't work out, now you know that it's not because you held back. So there's no regrets. You know that you gave it everything you could. You did what was in your control. You can't control the other person. So the fact that it didn't work out is just something you have to accept. But no regrets, because you didn't do anything wrong. So hopefully this helps. You might have to listen to that a couple times. You can go to my website, healingcourse.org, and there's a healing school there with multiple courses taught by me on how to master this stuff. You can also set a one-on-one appointment there too.